Hello aspirants, so welcome to the class. So myself Mohan Benarji. So I teach anthropology, Indian economy and other subjects so related to the UPSC. So with a brief introduction about me, so I am teaching this anthropology related subject so since 5 years and Indian economy from 10 years. So I have attempted UPSC 4 times, went interview for 1 time, so couldn't succeed. So as I am having a teaching as a passion, so I joined in this teaching field, and past 10 years I am into this field and covering various subjects, guiding various students. And last year, so the many of the students have been cleared. So with respect to the anthropology, so I have guided them with respect to answer writing. So this year also we are expecting so good number of people to clear with anthropology as an optional. So coming to this subject, this subject is one such nature of the in which so most of the people are having interest irrespective of their background. And at the same time, so what I can suggest you is whichever the optional you take, so first you have to create a sense of interest. So that is the basic thing with respect to the preparation of UPSC you need to follow. So coming to our class, so this is considered to be the anthropology orientation class, in which we will discuss about why a person or an aspirant should take anthropology as an optional. So what are the different advantages with respect to anthropology optional, and so what are the myths and advantages, disadvantages, or with respect to the anthropology, so what is the student perspective in the preparation. So we will discuss as an introduction, and then we go on to discuss about the subject related to the anthropology as per the syllabus given by the UPSC. So coming to this UPSC pattern of exam, you all know that so in the mains particularly this optional is involved. So after clearing of the prelims you will get write mains. So in that mains you have almost 750 marks. So this is known to you, and out of this 750 the optional subject carries almost 500 marks. Okay, so you have the languages which are considered to be the qualifying in nature. After that so you will be having 250 marks of essay and 1000 marks of GS papers, and here 500 marks of optional subject. So here the essay, GS papers and the optional subject altogether we it is almost 1750 score. Here the Indian languages are considered to be the qualifying papers, just you need to get so more than the prescribed limit of marks. So out of this 750 there is a possibility that you can score more marks in the essay, ethics in GS paper and optional subject. So whoever are the people are getting more marks in these areas, there is a high probability of clearing the exam. So that is the tradition which is, or the trend which we observe in current format of exam. Okay, so here if you see why most of the people choose anthropology as an optional, so there are various reasons are there. I have identified few of them. So first thing is anthropology is considered to be elaborate syllabus which is given by the UPSC. So that means there are many optionals are there. So but if you compare the syllabus of anthropology with other optionals, so what you can get is the elaborate syllabus given in the subject of anthropology. So why elaborate syllabus is required for a student is because they can easily identify what are the basic topics which are related to that subject. So if they have given some lines, if you take with respect to the GS mains paper, okay, they will give one line, but the number of questions, the type of questions what they ask is it is not given elaborately in the GS syllabus. So because of that most of the students are facing problem, because the scope of the subject is very vast, and to what extent the preparation has to be. So that is considered to be a tough job for the student. So that's where the guide and as well as the institutions are helping the student to clear the exam. But with respect to the anthropology, if you consider the syllabus, so it is clearly defined, explained, and most of the questions which are coming in exam are mostly straightforward, and at the same time the dynamic nature of the questioning is very less, because the research in the anthropology is gradually increasing, so or gradually taking place. So it is not steep, and the subject nature is static in nature. So the question asked by the UPSC is also static in nature. So that is the reason why most of the people do take anthropology as an optional. So first one is elaborate syllabus, so which you can complete within the a stipulated time of 4 to 5 months or maximum 6 months. Okay, and at the same time, if you see here, the subject create an interest among the students. So interest among the students means, so any of the subject, so it is related to you directly or indirectly, you can easily learn that subject and you can understand the subject, and while you are writing the mains answer, you can reproduce them very easily. So then what are the topics which are creating interest among the students or the people is, for example, in the society, you know about the different section of the people are there. So in that section of the people in the society, there are certain institutions are being created, like marriage, family, kinship. So and economic system, political system. So these are the some of the institutions created in the society. So these institutions are known to you. So and at the same time, so you have experienced in your lifetime. So with respect to the subject, what we do is how these institutions has evolved over a period of time. Who are the people explained the evolution of those institutions. And at the same time, if you see, so many societies has different evolutionary stages. So that means in the beginning stage of humans, so they are considered to be only hunting and gatherers. They used to roam in the forest, and they have certain tools like bow and arrow, and they used to hunt the animals. So that is the stage of humans. And later stages, so they slowly have improved their technology and improved their collecting of food, and over a period of time, now you can see the complex societies, how they have been developed with the help of advancement of technology. So in the anthropology, we will study about the humans and their evolutionary process in different stages. Okay, in this subject, so directly or indirectly, you can correlate each and every topic, so that create a sense of interest among the students. So which you can easily learn and you can easily reproduce them. So that is the point. Next one is, so here there are many people who are securing 300 plus marks. So the total marks for the optional is 500. So do students get 500 marks, 500 out of 500 marks? So in UPSC, so getting 60% of the marks or 65% of the marks is the maximum mark. Okay. So any person or any student who is getting more than 300 marks is considered to be the best. And accordingly, if you see the trend of the anthropology as an optional, so continuously most of the students are securing more than 300 plus marks. So that is the one of the parameter we can consider. So why you have to choose anthropology as an optional. Okay, and I will show you the scores in the next coming slides. So next one is about the static and more static and less dynamic. So as I said, the subject which is given as a syllabus is static in nature. So that means, for example, if you consider, so marriage systems. So different types of societies have different types of marriage systems. So we will study about, so what is marriage, types of marriage, how they are been formed or evolved in that society. So can we change the marriage system? So it is a gradual process. The society has to accept it, and then they have to create a new type of systems or new type of marriage systems in the society. That is very tough job. So for example, in recent past, if you see, so you know about marriage of male and female, but now, so now we are seeing marriage of male and as well as women marriages are been emerging in recent past. So what are the reasons behind it? So why those types of marriages are been created or they were been performed in the society will be studied in the anthropology. Okay, and at the same time, so dynamic nature in the sense, the way of questioning in the with respect to the UPSC is very less dynamic and more static in the sense, if you consider the other subjects like various other subjects, I doesn't want to mention those subjects. So the questions are not straightforward. So the questions are dynamic in nature, in the sense they are giving the current affairs extensively, and accordingly the students are facing problem. So here in anthropology that is not the case. So for example, in anthropology we have two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Okay, paper 1 is 250 marks and paper 2 is 250 marks. Paper 1 250 and paper 2 is 250. So in paper 1, out of 250 marks, they were being given 8 questions. You have to write 5 questions. So that is the pattern. So similarly for paper 2, you will be given 8 questions. You have to write 5 questions. Each question carries 50 marks. So there are sub questions are there again. Okay. So this pattern is same for most of the subjects. So here in anthropology, there are paper 1, paper 2 combinedly, there are how many questions are there? 16 questions are there, total 16 questions. So in these 16 questions, almost 12 questions are repetitive in nature. So that means directly or indirectly related to the previous year questions. So that is the trend UPSC is giving, and it is very easy for the student. Already if they have a practice of answer writing, if you know the answer, reproducing that answer is easy. So that means here the dynamic nature of question is very, very less. That is followed by the UPSC. So the same trend is been followed last 4-5 years. So if you see, out of 16 questions, 12 questions are repetitive in nature. Only what you have to do is you have to frame the answer for that question and try to reproduce it. So that is a tough job for any student in the anthropology. So that if you work it out, so then automatically you can secure good marks in that anthropology subject. Clear? So that is with respect to this more static and less dynamic in nature. Okay. And next one is about overlapping of GS syllabus. So in the next coming slide, I will explain in which GS syllabus. So the topics of anthropology is correlated. Okay. And then here good guidance. So anthropology is one subject, so which can be simplified and which can be explained to the students easily. And if we guide you with respect to answer writing practice, easily you can secure 300 marks. So that is another advantage with respect to the anthropology. And these anthropological topics are also helpful in the interview. Okay. So any of the social issues, so which are being in the society, so we can give anthropological perspective, and accordingly same answers can be given in the interview. So there is a possibility that the students will be having an edge. So that is the reason why you should take anthropology as an optional. Okay. So what is the score students secure with anthropology as an optional? So here I have collected some information. So in the last couple of years, you can see, so these are the ranks of the students and the secured marks which they have got. So one of the highest mark is so 362. So Lakshmi Nagappan in 2018. So out of 500, this 362 marks is considered to be the topmost mark. Even mathematics optional won't get this many marks. So that means the scope of marks allocating to the students is high in the anthropology. So consistently students are securing more than 300 plus marks. So that is the advantage with respect to this anthropology optional. So next one, so who can take this anthropology as an optional means any person who are having certain interest with respect to social sciences can take this anthropology optional. So at the end of the day, so my perspective with respect to UPSC exam is, it is not about learning the subjects. At the end of the day, you have to secure the marks. So that is the basic agenda of any student. Okay. So here I will show you some of the rankers who have secured good ranks. Okay. So is it visible? Okay. So this person is Arundip Durshetty. He is a rank 1. Okay. And Uma Harthi. So she secured 3rd rank in 2002. And Ananya Reddy. So last year she secured 3rd rank. So these people background, if you see, so he is a BTech Electronics and Instrumentation from BITS Pilani, but took anthropology and secured 1st rank. And she is also a BTech Civil Engineering from IIT Hyderabad and secured 3rd rank. Okay. Ananya Reddy, so she is also BA Geography. So even though she is a BA Geography, she did not take Geography as an optional. She took Anthropology as an optional and secured third rank. So that means irrespective of their background, if you have interest in the social sciences, automatically you can take Anthropology as an optional and you can get good score. So that is what I want to highlight. So next one is overlapping of syllabus. So that means here you can see there is a GS syllabus with respect to the 4 papers. So there is a small correlation with respect to the anthropology subject. So for example, so anthropology syllabus can be used while you are studying GS1 paper, that is particularly prehistory. Okay, so prehistory means you can take Stone Ages. So have you completed history as a subject? No. Okay, so prehistory in the sense, so whatever the period before Indus Valley civilization, we call it as a prehistory. So we don't have any type of scripts, we don't have any type of language. Okay, so those type of societies we study in the prehistory. Okay, so what are the different types of periods the people lived means, we call it as Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and as well as Neolithic, Chalcolithic. So these are lithic ages, that means stone ages. The study of people and the society during the stone ages, we call it as a prehistory. So that will be studied elaborately in the anthropology, and you can use that knowledge in GS paper 1. And similarly, Indian society, so we will elaborately study about the society in anthropology, and with respect to the caste system or study of the villages and various other tribes, so elaborately, so that knowledge can be used in Indian society. And then social justice is also part of Indian society. So in that social justice, there are many problems like poverty, unemployment, okay, so various other social issues in the society. So with respect to crime against women or any of the social issues, so we will study in the anthropology, same knowledge can be used in GS1 paper. And with respect to the polity and governance also, so some topics are collided or related. So for example, so government is framing certain policies for tribals or certain policies for the development of rural areas. So those programs we will study in anthropology, same thing is also mentioned in the governance. And in the polity, so whatever the articles related to the tribes and whatever the fundamental rights related to the weaker sections, so we study in the anthropology, same thing is mentioned in this polity. So that's where you can use the knowledge of anthropology in the GS paper. And with respect to internal security is one subject which is mentioned in GS3. So that is one of the topic is ethnic movements. For example, so the duty of the government is to maintain law and order and secure the country. Okay, so one of the function of the government. So in that function, so government is facing many problems. So border issues with respect to other countries, and internal within the country also we have many problems like Naxalism. Okay, so the Naxalism is being spread in different states, and that can be a problematic situation for the government, and accordingly it is dealing this Naxal problem from 1960s onwards. Okay, so till now we are not able to address it. So what is the reason for the Naxal problem means lack of development in the tribal areas. So the government is not providing basic necessary facilities to the tribal areas, and the tribal problems are not addressed, and eventually the people are fighting against the state, so that we call it as a Naxal problem. So what are the reasons for the rise of tribal movements or tribal revolts in current format and fighting against the state? So is discussed in the anthropology. Same information you can use it in the internal security subject. Okay, and in the science and technology also, so there is a biotechnology, so our general science topics related to the genetics, general science topic related to the nutrition or with respect to the diseases. So some of them are discussed in the anthropology, same knowledge can be used in science and technology. So this is the topics you can have are related to the GS3 and anthropology. And with respect to the GS4, so there is a one topic subject called as ethics. In that ethics, ethical dilemmas are considered to be so one of the important, so which is used in the case studies. So you know ethics as a subject, right? So theoretical part is there and case studies is there. So in that case studies, they will be giving certain ethical dilemmas, and accordingly, so you have to give the proper solution for that ethical dilemma. So for example, I have mentioned our tribal rights versus tribal development. Okay. So for example, so you know Polavaram project, right? So do you know Polavaram project? So where it is constructed? Near to, so West Godavari district, near to Rajahmundry. Okay, fine. So if that project is constructed, okay, so automatically some of the people has to be displaced. So in the nearby villages, right? So who are the tribals who are being displaced? Any tribals are got displaced because of construction of that Polavaram project. So who are the tribal people used to live in that area? Any idea? So can you name any of the tribes in Andhra Pradesh? Very good. So it is Koya. So Koyas are the people who are living in that area. So if you construct that project, automatically the people will be displaced. Okay. So in this case, there are two aspects are there. So the government has to protect the rights of the tribals because they lived in that area for centuries, and now government is constructing that project and asking them to go for other areas. So that is clear violation of tribal rights. Okay. And on the other hand, the government want to develop the project, so which is helpful for the overall society. So which one has to be followed? Either government has to protect the rights of the tribals, or the government has to construct the irrigation project or the power project or the dam. So which one has to be done? Yes. So yeah, balancing both means first you are being appointed as an officer in that area. So which activity do you take first as a first priority? So you will take development as a first priority or tribal rights as a first priority. So according to the anthropological perspective, so all the time, so we should advocate for the tribal rights. So because tribals are living in that area and developed their society, culture, economic activity, so they are having an association with that land. So if you are replacing them or displacing them to other areas, it is a duty of the government to protect the people, and whenever they are been relocated to other areas, they should ensure that rehabilitation facilities are being provided to them effectively. So then only the government can construct a project easily with the acceptance of people. So the first priority should be rehabilitation of the tribals and protect the tribal rights. After that, you can construct the project. So that is how the any of the civil servant has to do. Okay. So in this ethical dilemmas also, the anthropological knowledge can be used while you are writing answers. So next one is about the overview of the syllabus with respect to anthropology optional. So first, now what we will do is, so we will take up the syllabus which is given by the UPSC. In each every chapter, what are the basic content they have mentioned, I will explain you in detail. Okay, clear? So first one, if you see, we will take paper 1. In that paper 1, they have given certain chapters. Okay, so I have noted some of the chapter names. Okay, you can also note the chapter names. In that chapter names, so subtopics are given. We will discuss briefly about each and every chapter, briefly. Okay, so for example, in the first chapter, what they have given is meaning, scope and development of anthropology. Okay, and at the same time, they said that relationship with other disciplines. Okay, and then other subtopic is main branches of anthropology. Okay, so this is the syllabus which is given briefly. So for example, now we will discuss what is anthropology is all about. So we are saying using the word called as anthropology from the starting of the class. So what is this anthropology is all about? Some of the thinkers, so like William Sewell, so he is the person, and a British philosopher and scientist, he is the person first used the word called as anthropology. So according to the dictionary in 18th century, so it is the meaning about, says about the study of human nature and the society. Okay, but the scientific meaning which is given by the anthropologist is nothing but it is taken from the Greek word, so anthropos. So anthropos means so humans, logos means study. So here the study of humans is considered to be called as anthropology. Okay, so in a scientific manner, so in a holistic manner, so we call it as a study of humans. So it is called as anthropology on the whole. Okay, so study of humans means so from where we will study means from the origin of humans. Okay, so from the origin of humans means so humans are been originated from so any of the animals. So we can call it them as primates or apes. So we will study the how the evolutionary process of humans has been started and their culture has been started. Okay, so that means now you understood what is anthropology means. Study of humans in a holistic manner and in a scientific manner is called as anthropology. So that means origin, evolution of humans till the current society. So we will study each and every phase of humans in an elaborate manner is called as anthropology. Understood? So here in the syllabus they have mentioned it as relationship with other disciplines. So that means till 18th century, so we don't have anthropology as a subject. So for some years or some topics are related or correlated with other disciplines. So for example, compared to anthropology, sociology is considered to be the subject which has emerged in 16th and 14th and 15th, 16th centuries. So that means earlier the study of the societies are being done as part of sociology. Okay, and later when anthropology as a subject has been formed, so the societal aspects are also taken into consideration and added to the anthropology. Okay, and at the same time, so with respect to the evolution of man, so man has developed not only the society but he developed certain political structures as well. So what is a political structure means or political institution in current context? So the political structures of the institutions is legislative, executive and judiciary. So which are created in the modern day society. So those are considered to be called as the political institutions created as per the constitution. So those institutions are created by humans. So how the humans has created these type of institutions over a period of time is studied in political science. So some of the aspects of the political science are added to the anthropology. We call it as a political anthropology. Okay, and at the same time in economics, so we study about the supply and demand, and we study about the choice of the people with respect to the goods. We study about the role of government in the implementation of government policies. So some of the topics related to the economics added to the anthropology, and we call it as a economic anthropology. Okay, and at the same time even with respect to the history also some of the topics are related, like prehistory is one topic which is studied in the history are taken, and all the time prehistory is related to the humans, and the historical development of various social societies are also studied in history. Those topics are added and taken from the history and added to anthropology. Okay, and at the same time, so if you see some of the topics are taken from medical science and added to anthropology, because so in medical science, so we will study about the different types of diseases. So even the humans are having certain diseases, are facing certain diseases, and what are the disease causing agent and how are they been spread, what are the required preventive and curative measures are being studied in medical sciences are taken and added to anthropology. Okay, and even in the life sciences also the biological aspects of the people are being taken and added to anthropology. Okay, and even in the earth sciences or the geography. Okay, so even in the earth sciences and geography, so we will study about the rocks. So the study of the rocks are also added to the anthropology, because there is some of the paleoanthropologists. Okay, what do they do is they excavate the skeletons, they excavate the historical materials with respect to the past humans. Okay, so the evolution of man can be studied once we excavate the skeletons. We have to study the skeletons, we have to study the rocks. So those are being studied in the earth sciences are taken and added to the anthropology. Okay, and some of the psychological aspects, psychology is also one of the subject. Some of the topics are being taken from that subject and added to anthropology. So that means what you can consider in current context is there are various other disciplines which are related to the study of humans. Some topics are added and they have created a new subject called as anthropology. Understood now? So anthropology is not a subject prior to 18th century. So but as we are studying humans, so we need to know about their economic system. We need to know about their origin with respect to the biological terms. So that's why they have created altogether a new subject, and it was divided into 4 disciplines. Okay, so this anthropology is divided into 4 disciplines. One is socio-cultural anthropology, and biological anthropology, and archaeological anthropology, and linguistic anthropology. 4 disciplines it has been divided by the anthropologist. So there is one anthropologist called as Bhavan. So Franz Bhavan, so he is an American anthropologist. So he divided the subject of anthropology into 4 categories. So in these 4 dimensions we are studying about the humans only. Okay, so for example in socio-cultural anthropology we will study about the society. Okay, society. So in this society, so we will study how the marriage system is being followed. So how the people are maintaining relations with their relatives and as well as neighboring society. Okay, and at the same time, so here we will study about the different types of economic system they have developed. So economic system in the sense, for example, people are being exchanging certain goods and services. So how they are being exchanging? What is the process of exchange? So now if you want to buy any of the goods, what you are using? If you want to buy any of the goods, what you are using? Yes? So, okay. So, currently because of advancement of technology, so what you are using is the mobiles with respect to the payment of UPI, through UPI apps. So, but if there is no UPI, so what is the process you follow? The people has followed. Yes? Cash payments. So, prior to cash payments, so most of the time it is a barter system. So if you give some goods, other people will give you the goods which you are in need of. So that is a barter system which was been developed. So that means in socio-cultural anthropology, so economic system which was developed by the people is also been studied. Okay, so here we will study about the culture of the people. So culture means we can consider many dimensions are there. So in that culture we can consider dress pattern, the language, and as well as the religion. Okay, so which was been created by the people. So we will study in the socio-cultural anthropology. So there are many dimensions are there. So I have mentioned few of them. Okay, and with respect to the biological anthropology, so we will study about the origin of the people. So with respect to the genetics, so the major aspect is in current format we are considering as genetics. So you know, so every humans have cell. So in that cell, so we nucleus. In that nucleus, so we have chromosomes. So in that chromosomes there are genes. So we will study the genes and how the people are being emerging with the help of changes in the gene pattern or gene pool. So we will study about the different types of diseases. Okay, so we will study about the different types of diseases faced by the people in the biological anthropology. Okay, and at the same time, so growth and development of the people. So growth and development of the people. So etc. There are many applications are there with respect to this biological anthropology. So that means from the origin of the humans till the death of the humans. So all the biological aspects related to the humans will be studied in this biological anthropology. Okay, and archaeological anthropology means, so here archaeology means, so we are studying the historical evidences which are being excavated from the rocks or which are excavated from the historical past is studied under archaeology. In archaeological anthropology, we will not only study about the rocks and historical cultural elements, but we will study about the how the society has been formed because of that evidence of the various types of elements. So for example, in archaeological anthropology, what do we study is so we will study what is the living conditions of the people in prehistoric ages. So how do we study now? So those people have lived in almost 2 lakh years or 5 lakh years. So how we are able to study that this is considered to be the living style of those people? So how we can define the living style of the people? Yes? Yes. So they will try to extract the fossils and they will try to find the what are the different types of tool typologies. Okay, so for example, based on the teeth, so you can find what is the type of food they are eating. Okay, and with respect to the bones, whether they are middle-aged group or children will be decided, and accordingly, so based on the tool typology which they are using, most of the ancient man used stones as their tools. So based on that, stones or any other tools used by them will be taken as a reference, and accordingly they will try to codify the time period and the living conditions during the time period, and we will try to elaborate the culture of them. So this is, everything is mentioned in this archaeological anthropology. Okay, next at the same time, linguistic anthropology. So linguistic anthropology is also one subject which was not done extensive research. So because it is limited in nature, so in linguistic anthropology we will study about the origin of language. So how the languages are been originated. Okay, so there is extensive research is going on with respect to emergence of different languages in different areas. So but there is no complete concrete theories which explain the origin, but there are certain hypotheses created by the people or anthropologists. So based on those hypotheses, we will study how the languages is creating an society, how language helps for the development of the society. So for example, if there is no language at all, so how do you communicate? Yes, so if there is no language, so I am speaking to you in English, so you are able to understand. If there is no English, there is no language at all, so how do I have to communicate? Yes, so with the help of some signs. Okay, so that is considered to be called as a non-verbal communication. Okay, so gestures, so some of the sounds, so we will try to communicate to the other person. So this is what have been done by the primates earlier. So when the primates are living in the trees, okay, so they are jumping from one place to another place in search of food. So scarcity of food is considered to be one of the major feature in the among the primates. So at that time, so when they come to the land, okay, so they doesn't know so what is there on the land. So if there is any creatures that are there, they used to make some sounds, and those type of sounds are being imitated from the nature. Understood? So how these sounds are being imitated by the primates means it is based on the nature. So for example, if there is any rain is coming, some clouds will be creating the sounds. So that means it is a storm which is creating a sound. So it is called as a danger. So similar type of sounds are being created by them. So it indicates that a danger which is in the ground. So accordingly they used to communicate. Okay, so or even if you see, so recently there is a one movie which is called as Planet of Apes. So there you can see how they are communicating. So if they don't have the language, they can communicate. So later stages, the film is different, hypothetical condition. So what if the apes have got knowledge? So that is the film is all about. Okay, so if they in the starting they will try to communicate only in the sign language, non-verbal languages. So you can see that movie as well. Okay, so this is about the linguistic anthropology. We will study the origin of languages. Okay, next. So in chapter 1.4 in paper 1, so they have given human evolution and emergence of man. Okay, so in the starting, so our ancestors are like this. Okay, so we can call our ancestors. Okay, so they used to walk on the 2 legs and 4 hands. So quadrupedal. Okay, so like monkey they used to walk, so sometimes they used to use the hands as well, and if you compare the primate, so their hands are very long compared to that of legs. So why? Because they are hanging on the tree all the time, so their hands are very long, and over a period of time what has happened, they came from the trees to the land, and accordingly they started walking. Okay, so they are considered to be in this position most of the time. Okay, after that they got erect posture, and if you see their facial structure is been changing. Okay, and at the same time, so they have started using tool typologies, and then the tool typology is changing. If you can see here, the stone tools are used, here bow and arrow is used. Okay, another metal is being used by the modern man. Okay, so here the height has increased, the brain size has increased, and the as increase in the brain size, the people are been advancing over a period of time. So earlier they have huge hair, okay, on their body. So but if you see, the hair is been reducing over a period of time. So because of climate change and because of the culture they developed, okay, so everything was been changing over a period of time. So that will be studied in the human evolution. So here Charles Darwin is the person who says about the human evolution. So there are many theories how the humans are being evolved. So pre-Darwinian theories are there, post-Darwinian theories are there, and there are certain the biological rules are being framed by most of the biologists. Some concepts are being taken, and we will study the emergence of man based on that concepts. Understood? Next one is about so here there are certain primates are there. So the primates, so which are related to the humans. So ancestral primates, we can classify them into prosimians and anthropoids. And here these are considered to be the earliest the primates, we can relate to them. And in this chapter we will study and try to compare the humans with that of primates. Okay, and what are the different characteristics of the primates, so which they have lived. So for example, here New World monkeys and Old World monkeys are there. So what is called as New World and what is called as Old World? Yes. So New World in the sense, so first we will discuss Old World. So Old World in the sense, so it is the continents Europe, Africa and Asia. All these continents are called as Old World. New World means, so newly discovered continents, South America and North America, and even we can call it as Australia. So these are New World. So in that area also there are certain primates. So those primates are also classified, or they have divided. And almost near primates which are correlated to the humans is we can consider as gibbons, orangutans and gorillas, chimpanzees. So from these we have emerged modern humans. So that is the evolutionary process of the humans, and we will compare the characteristics of primates living in current context and to that of humans, what are the characteristics and their anatomical structure also we will compare in this chapter. Okay. So next one is about the phylogenetic position, characteristics of geographical distribution of prehistoric man. So in different areas, so we have different types of apes, or slowly they are being formed as humans. So what is the evolutionary process which was being followed? So most acceptable theory, so by the most of the anthropologists is, so there is the near ape, and some of the features of humans are being present in some of the apes. We call them as Australopithecus. So from Australopithecus, so there is one of the person called as Homo habilis. So Homo habilis is another we can consider as human-like features are being followed in the apes, and then Homo habilis to Homo erectus, and from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens. So and Homo sapiens to Homo sapiens sapiens. So now the scientific name of humans in current context is called as Homo sapiens sapiens. So that is the scientific name. So every animal has certain scientific names. So for humans, the Homo sapiens sapiens is the scientific name. So prior to Homo sapiens sapiens, so what is the evolutionary historical past of the humans is, they are been started, so basic small human features are been followed in. So Australopithecus afarensis means that is a name given to them, Australopithecus is one, and at the same time from Australopithecus to Homo habilis to Homo erectus. So here you can see, so most of the human features you can see in Homo erectus, okay, and then so Homo sapiens sapiens is the modern man. So all the other people are intermediaries. So we have got the fossil evidences, but those fossil evidences were not followed in the next generation. So that means those primates has been, or these we can call the human-like features have been ended in the in between. So most of them is we can call as Homo sapien, Homo neanderthal. we can consider. So Neanderthals, there is extensive research is going on in the Europe, because in the most of the parts of the Europe, we have extensive fossil evidences, but they were being extinct because of competition with the Homo sapiens. So these two are contemporaries according to the archaeologists, so paleoanthropologists as well. So and slowly these Neanderthal not able to compete and they disappeared, or they were being wiped out. Okay, and the Homo sapiens has been progressed. So for example, so according to the Charles Darwinian theory, whoever are considered to be fittest, they will be progressed. So for next generation, so same thing you can apply. So here Neanderthals are considered to be one type of species, and Homo sapiens are another kind of species. If there is a competition between them, so Homo sapiens has prevailed, and the paleoanthropologists and archaeologists are finding out what is the reasons for the extinct of Neanderthals. So that is the research which is going on. So currently what you need to remember is, so evolutionary status or evolutionary phylogenetic status of humans is being followed from Australopithecus to Homo sapiens sapiens. So this is considered to be called as phylogenetic position of humans. So ella evolve. Okay, next. So next one is about 1.7. So it is about biological basis of life. Okay, so in this biological basis of life, so what we will study is, so I will come with so ecosystem. So you know, biosphere consisting of ecosystem. So ecosystem consisting of population. So population, we have so many type of species or organisms. Okay, so every organisms has different organs. Okay, so every organ has different cell. Okay, in that cell, so we can, so nucleus is there, so in that chromosome, and then so respective genes are there. So this is the considered to be the biological basis of life. So we will discuss the characteristics of the cell and as well as nucleus, chromosome and gene. So we will study all the characteristics. So this is only to understand the biological basis of life. Okay. So next one is about the principles of prehistory, archaeology and chronology. So that means here what we will do is, so we will study about the different types of methods which are used in the archaeology for knowing the period. So for example, so how do we know the period of certain cultural evidences of any type of tools? So for example, you got one pottery. Okay, so how to find out the time period for that pot? Yes. So for example, you got some fossil. Okay, so how to find out the time period for that fossil? So there is a one technique is followed, which in the archaeology it is called as carbon dating method. So through that carbon dating method, we are able to find the time period of the different cultural elements. Okay, so here in prehistory or prehistoric archaeology, so we will study about the different lithic ages. So starting from Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic and Chalcolithic. So what we will study is, we will study about the culture. So culture in the sense, so what are the different fossils first of all. So we have studied fossils earlier. We will study about the tool typologies, what they are following. So they used the stones in the hunting process. So what are the different types of stones they are used, the prehistoric humans has used, and as well as what are the different types of metals they have used. So for example, in Chalcolithic period, which type of metal is being used by the humans? So what is the first metal used by the humans? Yes. So any metals prehistoric men are used. So chalco means, so it is nothing but copper. So why copper is considered to be the first metal used by the humans? So any metal, if you want to create, so you have to first generate heat, melt it, and accordingly you can use that metal. So copper is considered to be the first metal used by the prehistoric man because of the melting point of copper is very less. So if you want to create iron, you need almost a heat of almost like 1000 degrees centigrade, so some odd. Okay, but the copper melting point is less. So the prehistoric man easily able to melt the ore to the metal, and accordingly they use that metal for the livelihood. So that's why in Chalcolithic, so different types of metals are being used by the humans. So we will find what are the different tools used by the men with the help copper, and at the same time, so we will study about the other lithic ages. So what are the tool typologies in Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic, and we will study what are the geographical conditions, so whether they have led any settled life or not, so we will study. So in which stage the people started settled life. So that means earlier in Paleolithic, as we have discussed, people are roaming from one place to another place and in search of food. Okay, so when they have started settled life, so that means they found out the wheel, pottery and settled life. So in which age? So you can guess. Yes. So it is started from Neolithic period onwards. Okay, so Neolithic period they started the corresponding settled life, and then they developed the society and the culture. Okay, so these are considered to be some of the points you need to remember. So with respect to the tool typology, so here you can see some of the tools what they are using. Okay, next one is about the, so you know, so from Neolithic period onwards people started settled life, we have discussed. So in that settled life they maintain relations with the people, and over a period of time, so every particular section of the society has developed a culture. Okay, so from second chapter onwards we will study the cultural, socio-cultural anthropology. So one of them is first one is culture. So some of the anthropologists like E.B. Taylor, so remember this person, so he is considered to be called as father of socio-cultural anthropology or cultural anthropology. He says that so culture or civilization is considered to be a complex whole which includes knowledge. So that means if you want to develop a culture, first you should have knowledge. Okay, and another one is belief system. Okay, so belief system means the people has developed a certain religion. Okay, so what is the earliest form of religion? So if the earliest form of religion, yes, so earliest form of religion in the sense, currently we have many religions like Hindu religion or Islam or Christianity or Sikhism. So there are different types of religions are being followed by the people. So every religion has been started based on the belief system. So in the olden days, prehistoric man, so on what the people are having certain belief. Yes, so first type of religion which was been followed by the people is nature worship. Okay, so they have worshipped trees, or they have worshipped animals, or they worshipped sun, or they worshipped water. So these are some of the nature elements which they have been taken, and they started religion which is considered to be called as a belief system. So that means every culture has certain belief system should be followed by the people. And then art forms. So here art forms in the sense you can consider as tool typologies. Okay, so earlier they have used stones, later bow and arrow, and as well as other metals are being used. So that art forms are considered to be part of culture. And every society should have certain moral values and laws. Okay, and they should follow certain traditions and customs. So traditions in the sense, so with respect to the rituals they perform at the time of festivals, or the tradition of wearing a dress pattern at the time of festivals. So those are all called as customs. Okay, and at the same time you can see, so every person should acquire these habits in the society, then we can call as a culture, or we can call it as a civilization. So this should be followed by every person in the society. So then we call it as a culture. Okay, so for example, so in current context we call as a Hindu culture. So Hindu culture means, so you should worship Hindu gods, and you should follow certain traditions which are being prescribed in that Hindu religion. Then if that person is following religiously, then we call it as a that society we call it as a Hindu culture. Okay, so Indus Valley civilization. Okay, so Indus Valley civilization means, so whatever the features of Indus Valley civilization are being followed in different areas. So we call that as a that area as a belonging to Indus Valley civilization. So what is the basic definition for a particular society is emerging as a civilization? So what should be the criteria to call a society as a civilization? Yes. So civilization means, so it should have specific culture, okay, and it should have certain trade, okay, with not only internal trade, external trade, and it should have certain script, okay, and it should spread, geographical extent should be large. So then we call that society as a civilization, okay. So this civilization and culture has certain characteristics. So we will study those characteristics in the nature of culture. Understood? Clear? Yes. So what we are studying in this chapter called as nature of culture means, so we will study about the characteristics of culture and features of culture and different perspectives of the anthropologist in the study of culture we will discuss in this chapter. So next one is about the nature of society, okay. So nature of society. So here there is many people are there. So McClever or Augusta Comte. So these are earlier, these people are considered to be called as sociologists, and they have defined a society. Society means a web of social relationships. So that means if there are certain section of the people are there, so how they are maintaining relations is studied in this society. And according to Augusta Comte, society is nothing but social organisms possessing many structures and functions. So for example, a human body should work means all the organs should be in place, and accordingly the humans can live for a longer period of time. So that means the humans are dependent on the organic function of the in the human body, right. So every organ should function in an order, otherwise they will face certain diseases. So even same thing if you apply to the society, there are many social structures are created in the society. Social structures in the sense you can consider marriage is one structure, okay, and family is one structure. So economic system one structure, and at the same time political system is one structure, okay, religion is one structure. So if all these are working orderly in the society, so then orderly by the people, so then we call that is as a society. So according to Augusta Comte. So that means he compared human body to that of society. So in human body we have organs. So in the society we have social structure. Every social structure has its own function, okay, and if that social structure is functioning effectively, so then the society will be peaceful and existed for a longer period of time. So same as the case of the people as well. If the organs are working effectively, so he can live for a longer period of time. Say if any organ fails, automatically the people will be affected with many of the diseases. Similarly, in the society or in the villages, any of the system is being failed, automatically that will have a impact on that village, and there may be a conflicts may arise in that society. So that is what explained by Augusta Comte. So here there are two views I have mentioned over here, functional point of view and as well as structural point of view. So that means here social structures which I said, marriage, family, kinship or religion or economic organizations, all these are being formed. So based on the functions, and accordingly these are been performing in the society. So for example, in Indian village system if you consider, okay, so you know caste system is followed, right. So every caste has specific function, and every other person will come to that caste, take the services and they go back, okay. So that means there is a necessity need arised in the society. So the society has divided into different occupations, and every person is dependent on one another. So for example, in rural India at least 30-40 years back, so if you want to have a haircut, you will go to the barber. So there is a barber community is there, so you have to go there and have a haircut. So there is no other community providing that services. So that means every person is interrelated and interlinked, and cutting of the hair is considered to be one of the basic function every person has to perform. Otherwise what will happen? So the hair will grow and they won't look like in a modern fashion. So that's why the people have created that function, okay. So haircut common, so it is a common thing everywhere the people follow. So that means what I want to say is, so because of necessity, because of needs of the people, some of the social institutions are being created. Understood? So those social institutions all together we call it as a society. Okay. Here in structural point of view, they are saying certain institutions are created with respect to the structure. Here based on the needs of the people, institutions are created, but here not because of the only functions. So it is with respect to the societal ideals, functions. So certain institutions are created in structural point of view. So there are two point of views, are two schools of thought with respect to emergence of society. So one is functional point of view and another one is structural point of view. So this we will study elaborately in the next classes with respect to nature of society. So next one is marriage. Okay. So in this marriage we will try to analyze what are different kind of marriages which are performed in the societies. Okay. And you can see these are different types of marriages followed globally. So every marriage, do every marriage is similar in nature? No. So why they are not similar?
The religious beliefs.
Yes. So marriage is considered to be one of the thing which has been emerged from the religion. So as the belief system is different, the marriage practices is also different. Okay. And you know, recently the Supreme Court has given one judgment. So with regarding the marriage. Okay. So in Hindu marriage, according to Hindu Marriage Act, so every person has to follow those rules at the time of marriage. So if any person, if they are not performing any type of rituals, so that marriage is not valid. So that is the judgment given by the Supreme Court. So that means there is a circumambulation in the fire altars. So 7 steps they have to walk around the fire altar, right? So here there is a fire. So I did not mention, I think so. So around the fire altar, the people, married couple has to walk 7 steps. Why only 7 steps? Yes?
7 steps. There are 7 mantras of the 7 steps, so they only know 7 steps.
Okay. So according to the religion, so they are having certain process with respect to the mantras or the Rigvedic mantras. So they are following the 7 steps. And if they don't follow that ritual, even though they performed all the rituals, if they don't follow last practice, so then also the marriage is invalid. So that is considered to be the judgment given by the Supreme Court. So we will take all the Supreme Court judgments and as well as the current trend with respect to the marriages we will discuss in this marriage chapter. Current trend in the sense, so male marriages as I said and female marriages are followed in some societies, and LGBT community marriages are also being performed. So why they are being performed? So what is the reasons for them? Everything will be discussed in this marriage chapter. Okay. Next one is about the family. Okay. So here we will study about the different types of family systems followed globally, and at the same time, so here this family in current context is being affected by various reasons. It may be industrialization, or it may be urbanization, or it may be feminist movements. These families are being affected. So what are the reasons for the changes in the family system in current context? So we will discuss as a part of family. Okay. So you know any type of families. So as per current context, joint family is one, nuclear family is one. So another medial family is called as extended family. So nuclear family means, so you can consider, so father, mother, children. Sometimes if there are grandparents, they are considered to be nuclear family if they are living in the same house, same roof. Extended family means, so there will be mother and father is having certain siblings, so they are also part of it. A joint family means the siblings families are also part of the one roof, so then we call it as a joint family. So these are different types of families based on the size. So similarly, there are many different families are there. So those families we will study as part of it. Next one is about the kinship. Okay. So kin means you can consider as relatives. So how the kins are been formed? So 2 ways. The kins are been formed are in 2 ways. So one is blood relatives. So children are the close kins, and another one is consanguineous relatives. So that is, well, at the time of marriage, you will get many relatives. So those relatives are considered to be called as kins. So how this kin system has been formed will be studied in this kinship chapter. So for example, if there is a family is there, so what do you call, so mother's brother? Uncle, okay, in Telugu? Yeah, Mavaya. So that means in our society, so we are calling either uncle or Mavaya. So at the same time, in some of the Sudanese society, every person will be given unique name. Okay, so that means every person will be called with a single name only. So there is no common name at all. But in current context, so we are calling with a common names. Okay, so why the common names are being followed in some societies and unique name is followed in the other societies, we will discuss as part of kinship. Okay, next, at the same time, here there are many kinship groups are being formed. Kinship groups in the sense relatives are being formed and accordingly their descents are being identified. So descent in the sense you can consider, so there are many people who are having known ancestor and their ancestors are for some of the groups we don't have known ancestor. So if there is any known ancestor and of your family, so then they are called as lineage. Okay, so for example, in lineage 4-5 generations are there, there is an ancestor is there and you are belonging to that ancestor, then it is considered to be called as lineage. Okay, so for example, group of lineages are called as clan, that is a very big group, and a group of clans are called as fratry, another very big group, and a group of fratries are called as moiety. Okay, so we will study all the characteristics of these groups, kinship groups. All these kinship groups are based on relatives, kins, relations. So what are the different characteristics for each group we will study as part of this kinship chapter. Okay, and at the same time, so here we will study about the different types of marriage system as well. Okay, so marriage system in the sense cross cousin marriages and as well as parallel cousin marriages also we will study. So parallel cousin marriages means, so we will study in the marriage and we will discuss as well as over here as well. So what is parallel cousin marriages? So that means father has certain brother, so brother children and father children can be married. So it is followed in which type of society? So it is followed in Islam. So Islam they can marry. So parallel cousins. Okay. So but cross cousins is followed in most of the Dravidian societies, South Indian societies. Okay. So these type of are relatives related marriages are also happening. So that will be studied as part of kinship and as well as marriage chapter. Understood everyone? So these are some of the points. So there are other concepts are there, complementary filiation and filiation and kinship. So that we will study as part of this chapter. So next one is about economic organization. Okay. So economic organization means by seeing about this picture, by seeing this picture you can see there is a one market is there, people are selling the goods. Right. So here how they are exchanging the goods we will study as part of it. So different types of exchanges. So for example, within the family, so mother is doing the duties in the family. Okay, do mother is being paid? So we don't pay any money or anything to the mother, but we will show some faith, love to the mother. So that is the reciprocity we do show to the mother. So that means there are different types of exchanges are there. One is called as reciprocity. So give and take approach. Another kind of exchange which is followed in the most of the societies, redistribution. Okay. So for example, in hunting gathering societies, so people do hunt and get the food, and what do they do? After getting the food, they will be shared with all the section of the people in the society. So that is called as redistribution. Okay. And most of the time, as we have discussed, in modern societies, we have markets. Okay. In that markets, we started using money. Okay. So that money is called as token currency. You know token currency? Anytime have you heard? Okay, so token currency in the sense, so you have 500 rupees note. So what is the actual worth of that paper? If there is no RBI governor sign and certain symbols in that on that paper, so what is the cost of that paper? Hardly 2 rupees, maximum 5 rupees. But we are giving the worth of 500 rupees by giving certain features, attributes to it. So that is called as token currency. So do you know who is the person, who is the king who started this type of token currency? In the historical past, in your lower classes, you might have studied. Yes, it is not Samudragupta, but it is Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So many people say Tughlaq, but he is an intelligent person. Okay, so he is far ahead from his times. So he introduced a token currency. So what is the problem with the token currency is like RBI, there is no regulatory authority at that time. So what has happened? Every people started minting the money. So if you are given an opportunity to mint the money, what you will do? For day and night you will mint the money. So that is what has happened. So people have the money. So if you have the money, what do? So you will spend a lot, as much as you can. If there is no regulation on the token currency, automatically what will happen? Inflation will increase. So that is what has happened in the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So that's why most of the people has faced the problems. Even the poet described him as a illiterate. But compared to the current context, he is an intelligent person, but his ideas are not syncing with the time. So that is what the problem what has happened. Okay. So but however, in the most of the societies, the exchange in current context takes place in terms of money. Okay. So in next coming days, there may be a digital currencies may come into the picture, like Bitcoin or any other digital currencies may enter. So how the exchanges takes place? Okay, we will study economic organization, and at the same time different types of economic systems. So for example, economic systems in the sense, so in the starting of human evolution, people followed hunting gathering. After that, the people has followed either agriculturists or horticulture or pastoralists or some other occupation. So if the people are living nearby the ocean or nearby the water, they followed fishing as their occupation. So based on that occupation, so new type of economic system has been formed. So new type of economic system in the sense, if you follow agriculture, so you will try to produce many types of crops, and after producing, what do? So you will go to the agriculture markets and try to sell the goods to other section of the people. So that is how the economic system is been developing. So with respect to the production, consumption and distribution of goods. So all the characteristics related to them will be studied in this economic organization. Understood everyone? So next one is about political organization. Okay. So political organization. So here you can see, so one of the tribal system. Okay. So I will give you, there are different types of political organizations are there in the global world which are followed by the tribals. Okay. So here political organization means one, I will give you one example. There is a Melanesia. So once some of the islands are there in Pacific Ocean. So the leader of that community will be selected from the people. They will conduct one ceremonial event and they will create some competition. Whoever wins that competition will be the leader of that community. That means he is the head of that community. So that is considered to be called as, that post is called as Melanesian bigman. So which is mentioned by the anthropologist. So that means here the leadership or topmost head position is selected from the people based on their skill set. Similarly, there are some countries are there. So you can take North Korea. Okay. So you know that Shorts fellow. Yes. So his name is called as Kim Jong-un. So he is getting that leadership role or head role based on hereditary in nature. So he got from their parents, and accordingly he is controlling the total country. And recently what he has done is, so most of the people has faced the floods, and he executed almost like 100 people or some odd execution for not performing the duty. So do anyone in the world do such an act? So no one will do. So even people has certain mercy, but he don't have any mercy on any of the person. So that is the style of working style in this North Korea. So if you see the North Korea, so neighboring country is South Korea. So if you see the South Korean people, they are having Gucci bags and other extra lavish lifestyle they are leading. On the other side, North Korea is under poverty, so they are struggling to get the food. So why there is a cultural divide or lifestyle differences in inequalities with respect to the income? So do you observe? So they are having a common historical legacy. In fact, Korea is one and the same. This North Korea and South Korea is divided only in recent 1950s. So because of ideological differences, like some of the people supported Russia, USSR, some supported USA. So the people who have supported USA is South Korea, and the people supported USSR is North Korea. So based on that, they were being divided. And because of the autocratic rule which was followed in North Korea, so they were still living in poverty. And South Korea has advanced with the help of USA. So that means, so because of the political structure which is created in that country is considered to be important institution which can be developed or develop whole country over a period of time. So here in political organization, so what are different types of political institutions or political organizations in different parts of the world, and how the laws are made in that society, and at the same time how the laws are made in the modern society, and how the people are controlled by that laws will be studied. Okay, so even we will study the difference between the primitive law which is followed by the people in olden days and the laws in the current trend. So current laws which are passed by the modern societies. So we will study in political organization. So next one is about the religion. Okay, so we will study about what is religion. So different ways to study the religion, and polytheism and monotheism, different types of religions are there. And at the same time, so we will study about the different people involved in the tribal religions. Okay, and at the same time, so in modern days, so there are different types of religion and their characteristics. Okay, and if you see, so most of the time people are following or having belief system in sorcery and witchcraft. So have you seen a movie called as Polymera recently? So it is released in Telugu. So it is nothing but a sorcery or witchcraft. Okay, so do you think that witchcraft is having certain implications on the humans? Yes or no? So the thing is, according to the anthropologists, some of the anthropologists like Evans Pritchard says that there are certain implications on humans, but we cannot prove. Only the outcome, if you see the outcome, there are some negative outcomes on the humans. So for example, so there is one, as I said, Evans Pritchard, he studied Newer Society in Sudan, NUER, Newer Society in Sudan. So they are having certain lineages are there, so certain group of tribal people are there. So if you got angry or if you are having conflict with nearby tribe, so what people are doing is they are performing witchcraft, and they are killing the cattle of other person. So that is what the practice which are being followed. So the witchcraft is performed, and at the same time cattle is dying. So that means we are believing that something harm has happened to other person. But how it is created, so it was not been deciphered. So that is one of the problem with respect to religion. Okay, so here only the belief system which was followed by the people in different societies we will study as part of the religion, and anthropological perspective in studying different religions will be discussed in this chapter. Okay, next one is anthropological theories. So that means there are many type of anthropologists so who proposed their own theories with respect to the anthropology discipline. So we will discuss each and every theory. Okay, classical evolution means that is the first and foremost anthropologist who has contributed for the development of anthropology as a discipline. So that's why they are called as classical evolutionist. So evolution in the sense, so humans has evolved. So from ancient like Australopithecus to Homo sapien, similarly culture also evolved from different stages. So that was been mentioned by these classical evolutionists. So what are the different stages mentioned by these classical evolutionists as part of anthropological theories we will discuss. And these are some of the theories which were mentioned in the syllabus, like historical particularism, so functionalism, structural functionalism and structuralism, and culture personality, neo-evolutionists, culture materialism, symbolic and interpretative theories, cognitive theories and postmodernism. So these are the theories. Every discipline has different theories mentioned by the thinkers, okay, or the research scholars. So in anthropology also we have many research scholars who has proposed different types of theories. Those theories we will discuss as part of the anthropology. Okay, so these theories are considered to be heart of the subject. So based on these theories only we are able to analyze different concepts in the anthropology. Okay, so we will discuss elaborately about each person's contribution. Okay, so next culture, language and communication. So here we will study about briefly about, so what are the different types of origin of language, first point. So different types of classification of language. So how language is helpful in the development of culture, and at the same time, so what are the different theories which was been proposed in the language is also been studied in this chapter. Okay. So next one is about the research methodologies. So this research methodologies is also very important. So in this research methodology is very important. Why? Because so every person, every anthropologist, so if you want to know, if you want to study about different tribes, what you have to do? So you have to go to the tribal areas and you should know the different lifestyle conditions of them in an organized way, and then you have to produce the theory, right? So that means here in research methodologies, in the sense, what are the different types of methods used by the anthropologist in the study of any of the tribal societies or any type of distant societies. So we call them as research methodologies. So one of them is participant observer. So here you see this person is called as Malinowski. He went to Trobriand Islanders. So in Pacific Ocean, the people are living, and he asked the series of questions and tried to know the information about them. So that is one. Second thing is they used to live with them. So if you ask the question, sometimes these people may give the wrong answer. But sometimes what he has done is he understood that they are not giving the true information. So what he has done, he lived with them for 2 years. So you can understand, imagine. So for example, if you are going to the any of the other places, for example, if you are going to European countries, so are you able to adjust to that culture? Culture in the sense, for example, first you have to suffer for the food, and you have to identify which one is considered to be the secure place. For example, if you go to the Paris, okay, so there is no guarantee that if you place the bag there, okay, so there is no guarantee in the Paris that if you left any of the your things on any of the places, it will be robbed. Okay, so that is the condition with respect to the topmost cities in the European nations. So that means there is a insecurity is there with respect to any of the places. So if you go to the tribal areas, you don't get even basic conditions as well. So you don't get a lavish lifestyle in the tribal areas. So in spite of that, he went to the tribal areas, studied with them, lived with them, studied the different culture of them, codified the culture of them, written in an elaborate manner. So any of the anthropologists who are writing elaborate description of the tribe is considered to be called as, that document is considered to be called as ethnography. Okay, ethnology means, there is another word called as ethnology means, so you are studying different cultures, comparing them is called as ethnology. So here every anthropologist definitely one or the other day they have to participate, observe, they have to be a participant observer, go to the tribal areas, get the information and try to document it. So that is what the practice which was followed by most of the anthropologists. Here in research methodologies, they have used different types of techniques. Some people have collected the scriptures and codified the history of the tribe. Some people has collected the information, identified the genealogy of the different types of families lived in that tribe. Okay, some people has considered to be participant observer is one of the method. So different types of methods are being followed by the anthropologists. We will study as part of research methods. Okay. So next one is about human genetics. So from 9th chapter to 12th chapter, we have exclusively of human genetics. So first chapter is about the human genetics, study of inheritance of human beings. So example, one of them is I am mentioning over here, it is called as pedigree analysis. So there are co-twin method, cytogenetic methods, different types of methods are there. Okay, DNA technology method is also being used to study the human beings, how the different characteristics of the human beings are being inherited by their children. So for example, parents are there, some of the features of parents are being got by the children. So what are the different ways to know whether they are belonging to their children or not? So what are the, if the person is getting inheritance disease, so we will draw the family tree of them, identify in any of the historical past of their family they are having any diseases or not, and accordingly we will identify what are the diseases faced by them. So all these are studied in this methods of study of human genetics in their inheritance. Example over here I have mentioned, this is considered to be one of the chart related to pedigree analysis. Okay, so that is helpful in identifying different types of diseases. Okay, next one is about the Mendelian genetics. So Gregor Mendel is one of the person who has given different laws with respect to the inheritance, and here this Mendelian genetics are being used to study the different patterns of transmission of genes, okay, from one generation to another generation. So from parents to children, so how the genes are being transferred, what are the different methods involved in it will be studied in this Mendelian genetics. Okay. So next one is a concept of genetic polymorphism. Okay. So genetic polymorphism means, so for example, in India we have many section of the people are there, but at least two of them are not equal. So every person is unique in nature. So that uniqueness can be studied with the help of genes. Okay, how these genes are being varied. So when you are being transferring from, you are being located from different locations. Okay, how the genes are being affected means it may be with respect to geographical conditions, with respect to isolation, or with respect to the genetic drift. So you are moving away from your place, automatically the gene pool will be changing. Okay, so for example, consider so the people who are living in South India are going to North India. Do you feel any changes on the, so here sometimes in South India because of heat conditions they may be brown or black. So once you go to the North India, there may be a cooler conditions, higher elevations, there may be a skin color may change. So that's how the people are been changing. So what are the different other reasons for this genetic polymorphism? Poly means many, morphism is form. So different forms are being studied with respect to the genetics in this concept of genetic polymorphism. So next one is about chromosome and chromosomal aberrations. So aberrations means abnormalities. Okay. So how many pairs of chromosomes are there in humans? So 23 pairs are there. So if any of the pair is having abnormality, so we get some diseases. So here in 21 chromosome, if we have any problem, okay, we get Down syndrome. So that is a one type of disease. Okay, and 18th pair we have problem Edward syndrome is being faced by the humans, and 13th pair we have problem Patau syndrome. So we will study different types of aberrations. Okay, and what should be the process need to be followed to address this type of problems. Genetic counseling and as well as other preventive measures need to be taken, will be discussed as part of chromosome and chromosomal aberrations. Okay. Next one is about race and racism. Okay. So there are different types of races are there. You can see, so there are white, black, yellow and red. So no person is equal. So every person has distinct feature. So we will study different types of races. So how the races are being defined means, so based on the hair, based on the eyes, skin color, height, so every feature will be taken and we will try to define the race. Okay, and at the same time on what basis this racial features are being changing will be studied in this chapter. Okay, Next one is about the genetic markers. So genetic markers in the sense, so we have different section of the people, how they can be varied from one person to another person. So for example, genetic markers are used to quantify the genetic diversity in the population. So we have different section of the people and they are different in different perspective with respect to genes and all. How we are able to identify them? So for example, in your family, so one of the common thing what we can see is the genes are common, so inherited from the parents. Similarly, we can take the blood group of them and match them. We can consider so the different section of the people. Okay, so here genetic markers are been helpful in studying the what are the different diversities present in that population. So like that many are there. So body fat and various other elements are there, considered to be called as genetic marker to study the population variation in the different regions. So that will be discussed as part of it. So next one is about the methods of ecological anthropology. Okay, so ecological anthropology means here we will study the different environmental conditions, how the people are been changing. So at the time of hot conditions, what are the physical changes occurred in the humans and as well as cultural changes. Okay, and even in the cold and high altitude. So high altitude. Okay, so high altitude in the sense in Himalayas. So when you go to the Himalayas, what do you feel? How do you feel? Yes. So are you able to breathe? So no. So you will be facing suffocation at the time of breathing because at higher level the oxygen levels will decrease, higher altitude. Okay. So you have to adjust to that conditions. What are the human changes which occurred will be studied in this ecological anthropology. And if you are going to the Africa where the heat levels are very high. Okay. So there most of the time the heat is very high and the humidity is very high and the people are facing whatever the water content in the body will be exhausted. Okay, so what is the cultural element what we are following in these three types of scenarios is, so for example, if you are going to the African country, you are wearing white clothes, light clothes and the houses are having ventilation. At the same time, if you are going high altitude or cold conditions, what is the cultural elements we do follow is woolen clothes and closed windows and the heaters are being used by the people. So that means we will study about the how the humans are been having variations because of extreme level of stress and as well as what are the cultural changes occurred in the human society because of these the different environmental or geographical changes will be studied in this ecological anthropology. Okay, so next one is epidemiological anthropology. So here we will study about the different types of diseases. Okay, and different types of diseases means infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. Example, in recent past, if you consider COVID-19. Okay, so this COVID-19 is considered to be one of the disease which has affected all the parts of the world. So can you say where this COVID-19 has been emerged? Yes. So it has originated from China. So in China, where they are been emerged? Yes. Yeah. So most of the countries believe that it is emerged from the lab, but China is saying that it is emerged from the wet market. So where these viruses are extensively located? So most of the viruses are in which type of animal? So one of the animal has a lot of viruses, it is a store of viruses which can impact the humans extensively. So one of that animal is a bat. So bat is having many types of viruses, okay, and from that bat, so most of the viruses are being spread to the humans. So here in epidemiological anthropology, we will study not only the impact of the disease, but we will study about the cultural reasons why this virus has been spread from one place to another place. What are the reasons behind it? Will be studied in this epidemiological anthropology. Okay. Next one is a concept of human growth and development. Okay. So from prenatal development till the aging, so we will study each and every stage. growth and development of the people will be studied. Okay, so and at the same time here we will study if the person is thin. Okay, different types of somatotypes are been followed and studied, and if they are having any issues, so if there is no height and weight for the people, we will give certain recommendations. So to improve the nutritional levels and improve the condition of the people. So from the birth till the death, different stages of humans growth and development is studied in this chapter. So next one is about the relevance of menarche, menopause and other bio events with respect to the humans. So for example, I will take fertility as an example. Okay, so here fertility means every woman has certain reproductive age. So how many children are being given birth by the woman is measured through a parameter called as fertility. Okay, so in India the fertility rate is 2.1 in current context. So the ideal condition for the fertility rate is 2.1 to 2.3 is the ideal condition. But in some countries, the fertility rate has declined to almost like 1.8 and 0.9 in between. So that means for for married couple, there is no one children at all. So if that is the case, automatically there will be imbalances in the population. So that will create a societal problems. Okay. So can you name which country it is? So can you name? So which country? The country has fertility rate between 0.8 to 0.9. Yes, you can guess, right? You can guess any country. So there is no world map here. So the country name is South Korea. Okay. So you know South Korean people. So they are having a distinct culture, and you know most of the people are fascinated about white skin. So they will, if they are having any dark skin, they try to come over it and they become as a white skin. So that is the one of the a phobia which was been created among the most of the section of the people. And at the same time, so if you see any of the South Korean movies, so everyone people look alike. So it is hardly identify them, hard to identify them. So that is their human evolution, and as well as the cultural, because of the cultural features, so they are being look alike. Okay. So however, so here the fertility of that South Korea is very less. If it is not taking any steps in current context, in next coming days, most of the South Koreans will face the problem. Okay, so their human resources will decrease, and as well as there some of the people may be left unmarried, or because of that, so some of the social issues may happen. So based on this fertility, so we can analyze the what should be the decisions of the government in the next coming days with respect to the family planning, so with respect to the population growth and other areas the government can frame its policy. So like that, fecundity, natality and mortality. So birth rate is natality and mortality is a death rate. So based on these parameters, so we will identify the population growth in any of the countries. And there are certain theories are also been explained in this chapter, so that we can identify the population trend in that country or in any of the societies. So these theories and as well as these parameters try to analyze the growth and development of population in any of the societies. So next one is about applications of anthropology. So where we can apply this anthropology is chapter 12. So with respect to nutrition, we can apply this anthropology. So with respect to the sports, with respect to forensic science. So you can see many movies with respect to the forensic science. So how they are being utilized this forensics in different areas. So you know in Brazil there are many drug cartels are there. So drug cartel means gangs. Okay. So they do crime and go away. So it is very hard for the Brazilian government to capture the people who have committed crime. So what they are doing is currently they are collecting the samples. So whatever the samples, it may be the blood samples or hair samples, and collecting the information of DNA and genes of the every people who are there in that crime scene. And they are mapping that crime scenes in different locations and trying to capture the real person who has committed the crime. So that means the forensic science has advanced in such a way that so we are using genetic engineering techniques to identify the criminals. So here we will discuss some of them, okay, and sports. So so most of the Americans, Canadians, and as well as the Jamaicans are winning this 100-meter race. So if you see almost 40 years, so these three countries win the race. What is the reason behind it? No, according to the anthropological evidences, they have certain specific genes, and the stature of the humans are supporting to win the 100-meter race. Similarly, we will discuss about different types of sports and what should be the height and weight of a person for the participation of that sports, so that there is a high chances of winning that game. Okay, so that will be studied in this kinanthropometry or anthropology of sports. So there are many other applications are there. It can be applied in defense, it can be applied in the eugenics, and various other applications are there. We will discuss as part of this 12th chapter. So next one, paper 2. So briefly I will try to cover the paper 2 chapter. So it is very easy. So already we have discussed lithic ages, right? So in the paper 1, so in paper 1 we will discuss global lithic ages. In paper 2 we will discuss about the Indian lithic ages. Till Indus Valley civilization we will discuss elaborately. After that, so we are also having certain fossils, okay. So like Ramapithecus and as well as the Shivapithecus and Narmadaman. These are the three fossils which have been found out in India. So some of the people have criticized that, so actually Ramapithecus means what we have got is only this one. So based on this teeth, they are drawing this diagram, okay. So see, we don't get the complete fossils of every historical human beings. So what do? Based on this evidence, they try to draw the hypothetical diagram of the fossils. So that is how they had drawn. So this we will discuss about the basic features of Ramapithecus, and as well as this is Shivapithecus skull and Narmada man. So Narmada man is considered to be one of the Homo erectus which was found in Narmada, on Narmada river, nearby Narmada river. So that's why it is given as Narmadensis, Homo erectus narmadensis. Okay. Next one is about the demographic profile of India. So we will study about the population, different types of races we will study, and different types of languages we study, and what are the theories, what are the reasons for the changes of population we will study in this demographic profile of India. So next one is about the structure, nature of traditions of Indian social system. So Indian social system means we will study about the Varna system. So there are fourfold Varnashrama system. Okay. So Varna means a group of people. So considered to be called as Varna. Okay. So for Varna system means 4 Varnas are there. So Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras. So according to divine theory, they were being emerged from Brahma. Okay. And in Indian social system, so there is a ashrama system is there. So ashrama system. So in ashrama system, so brahmacharya ashrama, so gruhastha ashrama, vanaprastha ashrama, sannyasa ashrama. So every ashrama system has its own functions, and final objective of every person is moksha. So if you are not able to attain moksha, again you will be having rebirth. Okay, and you have to do good karma and follow dharma every time. Okay, so if you are not following dharma, so you will be punished, and you are following dharma, you will be rewarded. So that is how the Indian social system works. So here we will discuss about the karma theory, how rebirth is being followed in the scriptures, mentioned in the scriptures, and all these concepts is part of Indian social system. Okay. So here we will discuss contemporary relevance of these concepts as well. So is it principles are followed really by the people, or any changes, or how they are being changing by the people if they are being changing. Okay. Next about the caste system. So we have different concepts are there. So with respect to the caste system, so here I have mentioned about characteristics of caste. So how caste is emerged in India? Yes. So caste, you know caste, right? So you belong to different castes. Okay. So if you are from a Hindu social system or in villages or Hindu society, so definitely you will be from any of the castes. Okay. So how the castes are been formed? So here we have a concept called as theories of origin of caste. Okay. So one of the theory which was proposed by, remember this name called as M.N. Srinivas. So he says that because of Anuloma, Pratiloma marriages, so this caste system has been emerged. So Anuloma means, any idea? So history not yet started. Okay. So Anuloma means higher caste men marrying lower caste women. So it is called as Anuloma. So Pratiloma means higher caste women marrying lower caste men is considered to be Pratiloma. So because of earlier there are fourfold Varnas. These Varnas, higher Varna marrying lower Varna, so has caused new set of group of people in the society, and accordingly over a period of time, based on their profession, new caste has been emerged. Understood? So every caste has certain features. So hierarchical levels. So if you go to village, so there are rich people are there in one caste, some are lower castes are there. So that is called as hierarchy. Segmentally division of society. So people are divided based on different segments, castes, and restrictions with respect to feeding and intercourse. So if you go to the temple, higher caste will be invited first, and then lower castes are being left outside. So that is considered to be one of the restrictions put by the religion on the caste system. Okay, and religious disabilities are there. So people are not given permission to enter into the temple in some areas. Okay, and lack of unrestricted choice of occupation. So if you are belonging to only a certain occupation based on the caste, you have to be in that caste. You cannot go for other occupations. And endogamy is followed. Okay, so you will follow only marriages within the caste only. You don't go outside of the caste. So these are the basic features of the caste. But these features are changing in current context. So what are the features of changing in the caste system? So in future, this caste system, how it can be in the next coming days, is discussed in the part of this caste system in India. Okay. So next one is about the sacred complex and nature man spirit complex. So remember one of the anthropologist name, his name is called as LP Vidyarthi. Okay. So he proposed this sacred complex and nature man spirit complex. So first I will say nature man spirit complex. So nature means you can consider as forest, okay, environment. Man means you can consider as any of the human beings, tribes you can consider. Spirit means here religion you can consider. So he, according to the LP Vidyarthi, so these three are having constant interaction, and accordingly the people are developed a complex society. So if you want to, if you are changing any of them, so this system will be affected. Understood? So here, with respect to this, any of the tribals, if we want to recommend certain changes, so we need to follow the process of the tribals, and accordingly we have to convince them. Okay. So this is the nature man spirit complex, is the complex which was been proposed by LP Vidyarthi based on culture ecology. So we will discuss later about what is culture ecology and all. So this concept is one of the concept which explains how the people are dependent on the nature, how the religious system has been formed. If we want any changes in this types of correlation, what a person has to do will be studied in this sacred complex. And another one is called as nature man spirit complex completed. Sacred complex is another topic. Okay, so nature man spirit complex is one, and sacred complex is one. So here, for example, you consider as Tirupati. Okay, so Tirupati is considered to be one of the religious center. Okay, so how many people are been following the same type of rituals which are performed in Tirupati followed by the people? Yes. So for example, in Tirupati, there is a type of puja is done for the god. So how many people are following the same type of puja in their house? So most probably the people who are living in Tirupati may follow. As the distance increases, the process may change, but people are doing puja. So that means here we are able to identify what are different types of sacred places, and what are the different rituals performed by the people in that sacred places. How these rituals are been spreading from one place to another place will be studied in this sacred complex. So because of studying this nature man spirit complex and sacred complex, So LP Vidyarthi is able to say how the evolution of civilization has took place in India and various other countries as well. Okay. So next one is impact of Buddhism, Jainism on Islam, Christianity on Indian society. So how they have impacted. So we will take Islam as one of the dimension. So for example, Islam is not known to India before 7th century AD. So after 7th century AD, so Islam has entered India. So what are the changes which occurred in the India? So one of the thing is, so with respect to the culture, if you consider, architectural buildings has changed. So music has changed. Okay, and in Islam, so people were been given, poor people are given certain certain amount of money by the rich people. So those type of the principles are being adopted by other religions as well, other section of the people as well. So that means whatever the good things in each religion has been adopted by the other religions and the people of the society. Okay, and at the same time, so with respect to Jainism, Buddhism and Christianity, so the Indian society has been changing over a period of time. So what are the principles followed by the people adopted from these religions will be discussed. So next one is emergence, growth and development of anthropology in India. So anthropology is not known to India till the Britishers has entered into India. So you know Asiatic Society of Bengal. Have you heard about Asiatic Society of Bengal? No. So there is a one person called as William Jones. So he established Asiatic Society of Bengal and collected all the manuscripts of ancient India and stored in one place. It is like a museum. Okay, and similarly various societies are being formed, and accordingly over a period of time we are able to collect the information about the Indian society and Indian civilization. So that means whatever the activities done by the Britishers in the study of Indian society is the starting point of anthropology in India. Later our Indian anthropologists joined it, and over a period of time the anthropology as a discipline has developed in various universities. We will study in this emergence, growth and development of anthropology in India. So understood? Clear? Okay. So from the advent of Europeans, that is Britishers, till current format, how anthropology has emerged will be discussed in this chapter. So next one is about Indian villages. Okay, so how the Indian villages are there, what is the social system followed in the Indian villages will be studied over here. So significance of village studies and all. And then next one is about linguistic and religious minorities are there. So there are certain minorities are there. So minorities can be divided into two types. So one is linguistic minorities, second one is religious minorities. Okay, so what are the social, political, economic status of them will be discussed as part of it. So next one is indigenous and exogenous process. So there are three concepts are there. Sanskritization is indigenous process, westernization and modernization is a exogenous process. Okay, so remember these three words, even it is asked in the Indian society as well. So Sanskritization means, so imitating the higher caste by the lower caste is called as Sanskritization. So example, so higher caste people are educated. So that's why lower caste people want to educate or they want to study. So that is one. And westernization means, so here westernization they have shown it as a different way, but westernization is considered to be one such concept which says the explained by M.N. Srinivas. So impact of British rule on Indian society. So that means imitating the Britishers by the Indians is called as westernization. Okay. And modernization is another word. So here another word is called as modernization. So modernization in the sense any changes in the occurred around the world, how they are impacting on Indian society is called as modernization. Understood? So for example, technological changes occurred in the USA are followed by the people in current context in India, we call it as a modernization. Okay. So for example, we don't have KFC, Domino's at least 20 years back or 30 years back, but now we have adopted it. So that is called as modernization. Okay. So because of this modernization, westernization and Sanskritization, how Indian society is changing. So we will discuss. So at the same time here we will discuss about the how media is influencing the Indian society. Okay. So and agrarian relations. So we will discuss as a part of Indian society, how they are being changing. So as part of 5th chapter we will discuss. So next one is tribal situation in India. So how tribals are classified based on the geography, linguistic classification, racial classification of tribals. We will discuss in this tribal situation in India. So next one is about the problems of tribals. So problems of tribals means land alienation, poverty, indebtedness, low literacy, poor educational facilities, unemployment, underemployment, health and nutrition. So these are the problems of the tribals. So what are the causes for the problems? Remedial measures will be discussed in this problems of tribes. Next, at the same time, so we have discussed previously in the starting of the class. So this is the developmental project. So these are the people who are being migrated because of this developmental project. So what should be the approach of the government? So what should be the people has to follow will be discussed in this chapter. Okay. So there are many infrastructure projects are constructed by the government. How the tribal people are being affected will be discussed. Next one is similarly problems and exploitation of scheduled caste we will discuss, and other backward classes also we will discuss. Okay, similar to that of scheduled caste. So we will discuss problems of similar to that of scheduled tribes. We will discuss problems of scheduled castes and backward classes. Okay. So next one is about the social changes in the contemporary tribal societies. So what are the different changes occurred in the social society? So it may be technological changes, economic changes, or cultural changes, political changes, demographic changes. These are the social changes which can occur in the tribal societies. How these are impacting on the tribal societies will be discussed. Okay. So next one is about the concept of ethnicity. So ethnicity means the people have a unique, distinct culture, and they were living in a specific area for a longer period of time. We call it as a ethnicity. So these are the different set of people you can see over here. They have ethnic culture, and because of this ethnic culture, there are certain tribal movements are ethnic movements are been created. So those ethnic movements we will discuss as part of the concept of ethnicity, and there are certain concepts, other concepts related to ethnicity we will discuss. Next one is about the impact of Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam on the tribals. Earlier we have discussed with respect to Indian society. So now we will discuss with respect to the tribal societies. Okay. So next one is about the tribe and nation state. Okay. So here one point I will say. So here nation state means you can consider as India as a country. So nation state. Okay. And tribes are considered to be have a distinct culture. Okay. And they are living in some area in India. So India has been formed in 1947, okay, after partition, and these tribal people are staying in the same place from 1000 years. Okay. So because of the formation of India, how tribal lifestyles has changed will be studied in this tribe and nation state. Okay. Next, at the same time, history and administration of tribals. So in the constitution, polity has been started, right? So which articles are related to, which schedules are related to tribal areas? Can anyone say? So it is 5th and 6th schedule related to the tribal administration. Okay. So that administrative process with respect to different tribal areas will be discussed. Okay. From historical background, from Britishers to till now, how the administrative process has changed will be discussed in this 9.1 chapter. Next one is about the role of anthropologists in the study of tribals and rural development, and contributions of anthropology in understanding regionalism, communalism, ethnic and political movements will be considered to be another chapter will be discussed related to chapter 9. Okay. So that means these are the recent phenomena. So because of these movements or these issues, how the tribals are being affected, our Indian society has been affected will be studied with respect to anthropological perspective. Okay. So these are considered to be some of the topics which are given by the UPSC in anthropology optional. So I hope, so now you understood or you got clarity about the topics which are in the syllabus. So accordingly, if you see that the syllabus copy, you will get more, there are many topics which are given elaborately. So make a look of it and accordingly you can decide. Okay. So this is about the orientation class which I want to say. So any doubts? Okay. So it is a lengthy class. I hope This is a tough job to listen for a 2 hours or 3 hours. But however, so I feel that I have delivered. So whatever the concepts which are related to the anthropology. So now you can get to know about the concepts and all. So slowly you can study this anthropology. So one of the advantage, so simple advantage is uh, easily you can complete this anthropology, but only the tough job is answer writing practice. So if you are thorough with that answer writing practice, easily you can get a good score. So first thing what I advocate to all the students is, first you should create a sense of interest with the optional. Whatever the subject you study, you should create a sense of interest. So that will drive you in the subject. So slowly that learning subject, whichever the topic you are learning, so that can be reflected in the mains answer writing easily. So otherwise it will be a tough job for most of the students. Okay, so let's meet in the next class. Okay, so with this I am concluding the class. Thank you.